Hello, I'm Larissa. Welcome to Goblins of Discord, the place for Enneagram misinformation, myth information, missing information, or nothing really. Honestly, this is a bit of a shit show. I don't really prepare any of these, although I did look at Paz de la Huerta for a little while before I jumped on this Zoom. Um, but yeah, I like just launched a new, cheaper, shorter service. So it's just your core and your wing. If you want to get a roast, like just a commentary roast on a video that you send me with like a handful of questions instead of like the list of 20 or whatever questions that you usually would answer. It's a more pared down offering. And so far, it's been really fun. So please send me more. Little pain piggies. I love to light the match and spin you around. You can also pick the softer roast version, but I recommend going all the way. Why not, right? Um, yeah, put a jalapeno popper in your ass for now that we're in the new year. Um, and I will be, as unprofessional as I am, offering coaching again soon. I'm fucking excited. This is specifically for nines, sixes, sevens, and four fixers. I honestly can't confidently say that I could help the other types, but you might be mistyped anyway. So if that interests you, if you suffer from procrastination, self-sabotage, addictive behaviors, resistance to the things that you want, all of these things, holy shit. I mean, every year it's just I deepen my process and I uncover my blocks and I defeat them, and then I like to bring it and like channel it into client things. But I took a break because I had to work on myself more. It's an endless pursuit, it's an endless thing that we do, those of us who are committed to self excavation and constantly rewiring the sewers of ourselves. Let's talk about Paz de la Huerta. She's an actress. I don't know what she's most famous for. I love Nurse 3D. She's in Enter the Void. She was actually in fuck, what was it? I didn't look it up beforehand, but she was in some. Was it Drive Me Crazy? Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart? I could be butchering that, but she's in some teen movie. This was sort of like before she kind of went like full Paz de la Huerta. She's kind of like a post Lohan who's more interesting than Lindsay Lohan, who I should actually type. Maybe I will this week. But yeah, I kind of thought Paz de la Huerta would be like some kind of 974 or something. But when I was watching a bunch of interviews, I was like, oh no, this pretty sure she's six fixed actually, and I think it's just the whole thing of being like a sexual dom, which I'm pretty sure she is. I mean, you can tell just by looking at her that she's potentially a sexual self-pres. She's kind of scary and like pulling you in like a tractor beam. Like you hang out with her, you're getting divorced. Like there's even if you don't fall prey to her charms, she's going to ruin your life. Like that's the vibe. This is also partly why I thought she had seven in her type. Also that and her like incredible hair. She has amazing hair, even when now it's like thinning and shit from drug use probably, but she still has incredible hair, incredible outfits. But I'm pretty sure she's six wing five in the head center. Yeah, I've followed her for a while. Follow meaning I just sometimes pay attention to stuff that she's doing. She's had some really crazy shit go on with Instagram where she's like had accounts and then she's like somebody hacked me and then creates another one, and then there's always like these like gang stalkers and like people are abusing me and I'm being targeted, and I have to share my secret and like these kinds of things that are very six wing fivey in my mind. I'm sure she was abused and she's come out on record and talked about that kind of stuff. Don't doubt it, but certain types will sort of make a meal of it, if you will, like where it will kind of become part of their identity. And she also has the 9669 with 4 or 2 um, thing of like kind of illness, this like haunted by illnesses kind of trend that I've somewhat noticed. Not to say that if you're ill that that's your type, but there's she's kind of sassy too. Like there's something counterphobic. Like it's kind of like what is this 7 sass or 6 sass? And this is kind of like a 6 sass thing to me, where it's sort of like the counterphobic, like fuck you, authority figure. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Thing going on. Yeah, she looks social last to me. She just seems very, and she also seems like a body type. Like I'm leaning 9 wing 8 for her. I started at 9 wing 1, but I don't know. She's very feral and primal and sensual and earthy and just like come to my sexual swamp and I'm gonna devour you. Um, but yeah, she was in Boardwalk Empire as well. I don't know if she got like kicked off the show for addiction issues, um, which can typologically. Oh, here we go. Here's a younger past. Of course, they picked that one for the Harvey Weinstein thing, but this is sort of before she started really getting into the paths that we have grown to love and know. Yeah, she's kind of doing the baby thing that like 962s and 964s do, especially with sexual and their typing. There can be like this whole like a baby. She's a mess. Look at her. She's a mess, a hot mess. Love her. Love it. Love the aesthetic. Love the vibe. Apparently, she went to like a Lana Del Rey concert and was like groping her own tits, and it like upset Lana. Also, who I should type. Oh, this is her before. Okay, this is her before lip filler, etc. So she kind of has a 9 wing 8 look here, actually. She kind of has that hippie 9 wing 8, earthen, devious, kind of troll, cute thing. Um, you could easily say she looks like a 973 maybe, but I think she's 6'6". And yeah, she's cute. There's something cute about her, which usually points to there being 6 somewhere prominent. So um, I don't know. And then she underwent her transformation. And it happened pretty young, so it feels organic, not like some 45-year-old trying to suddenly become sexy or something. It feels like this was always part of her self, and then she like let it out, kind of. And I think that that probably came with some level of trauma unlocking, or I'm not really sure, but whatever. Okay. But yeah, she's notorious for her substance abuse issues. So if there's not 7 and 4 in the mix, it can be sexual. I don't know. I mean, other types can obviously have addiction issues, but
Santa when I was 13 years old and I started modeling them. You know, he's one of the pioneers in creating incredible images of gorgeous women. He's also an incredible artist. He does incredible photographs that he paints on.
she's got swagger. Like she's got riz, I guess, if you will, but there's something compelling about her, even though she kind of seems like a like a maybe like drunk homeless woman vibe. She's very sensual. Like you can like again, like I said, it's like you look at her and it's like this woman is gonna ruin my fucking life.
I'm extreme,
Extreme.
emotional, honest.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting some 6y buzzwords. Again, I don't think she's a 6 core. I think she's a 9 wing 8, probably with a 6 wing 5 fix and 4. So that would be the most like emotional, reactive, authentic 9.
hot-tempered Latina. An actor I would love to work with, Benicio del Toro. Definitely. I mean, he is so talented.
Yeah, so tell us.
Yes, this is like some weird interview with her and the director of some movie Puppy Love, which I haven't watched, but I'm kind of curious. Paz is not the greatest actress, but she's definitely compelling. And it's interesting, sort of the observations the director has, because I do think they point to her being sexual self-pres. Um, I mean, I think you can tell she's sexual self-pres somewhat just by looking at her. Like, there's a penetrative, chaotic, like it's socially unaware. It's like I'm not operating on the same level as you people. It's like Selma Hayek in From Dusk Till Dawn, she's like the snake charmer. She's having her own like sensual experience, and like, what are you people doing? You're going to your fucking jobs. Like, it's kind of that vibe.
So it's I decided, I wanted to do something that I knew well and was close to me for a first film, and so this was. He doesn't judge people.
Script, and I thought it was brilliant because I really don't like acting much anymore, and I thought this was a film I had to make. And I met with Mike at that diner,
Yeah,
Cafe 101, which is a great spot. I used to live up the block from there, and we talked, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want me? Are you sure you want me?" And he's like,
Yeah, she has like an awareness of her own chaotic, like destructive, I could ruin your film. And I think that that can be six influence and four influence. Six influence in the headcenter is more like, am I good enough? Are you sure? Am I good enough? And four is more like, are you like, you know what you're signing up for, right? Like, there's gonna be drama and sabotage, and I think because she's like a 9-6 as well, there's that whole like, do you choose me even though I'm a bad girl, even though I'm a broken doll. Um,
"Yes, I do."
It was impossible to say no.
and she has like an energy, like I know she has addiction issues, so there's that as part of it, but she has this sort of collapsed sort of fragility to her, even though she also has this like chaotic maelstrom sort of hurricane thing, and she's always very put together, and like well, that's a lie, actually. She's not always put together, but often she does choose like intriguing outfits, and I think that speaks to her like 4-wing 3 heart as well, and maybe some
First
people.
encounter with Paz is a sort of it's an unforgettable and very impactful event. It's sort of, and take this as a compliment. She just has this very mysterious presence and aura and intelligence, and it sort of has. I know it's crazy, and you have the tattoo on your leg, but it has this feeling of meeting with like a powerful, ancient, magical kind of snake or
Oh
something.
wow!
Yeah, sexual self-pres, I think, is what he's describing. And he's probably like some SPSO like square who's like, oh, this woman is like, she's so sexual. I'm like, a genie. Like, if that guy didn't sleep with her, I'm sure he's had many weird fantasies. Also just want to point out that she's like picking her face through this whole thing. Again, probably some addiction stuff, but it could even be nine fixer, self-soothing anxiety thing. I don't know.
Like it's really cool, and I knew right away she needed to be in this film, and then what she did with the role, which I gotta also say is a very tough role to do. It's an overdone kind of cliche character, a prostitute, and she did something with it that I don't think anyone's ever seen, and I definitely never expected. And she's a genius, and we're all benefit.
I think he's been digmatized. I don't know that I would use the word genius to describe Paz, but she does have an original, intriguing, strange, and rare quality, and I think that that is connected to her type and her instinctual, especially like I think like being social last and that type is sort of like ramps up the strange factor. And she's very like she is sexy, even though it's like, oh yeah, she's struggled. There's something very sexy about her.
Fitting and reaping the rewards of it.
Yeah, and
Well, I'm very grateful, you know.
well, you can really feel this spontaneity in the movie. Somehow, some things seem almost.
She's kind of like mugging in the back, like she's like, and I really think she's a nine core, but she's very aware of like, I think with sexual dom, like how she's being seen in the elements where she knows she's being seen.
Too natural to be.
But there is something very dissociative about the way that she kind of conducts herself and talks. But there is this undercurrent of paranoia. So I think she's like, I don't know, it doesn't matter if she's 6'5" or 4'3" second because they're both reactive. But she does have a 4'3" doll kind of. I usually put 4'3" and 9'1" with like doll kind of, but I lean 9'8". I lean 9'8". I don't think it's 9'1". Yeah. I don't have like a great argument. She physically kind of looks more 9'1" to me, but the way that she kind of holds herself feels more 9'8".
Be plans. What was there things that you were discovering on the set, working
Her
on?
being also like triple reactive alter ego makes sense to me given, which I'm not going to get into, like, but like her whole like bizarre history. It's like a lot of like people are out to get me, and like she sues people all the time, and like she's a victim, and like I don't know.
All together?
Well, actually, let me answer this, Paz, because it's perfect. Is they one of the things we did with Hopper was he moved into Edmonton and lived with the guy it was based on, and he worked at that restaurant for real. For Hopper's,
It was like my way of doing things.
so there are a few scenes in this film that were just her, where she said, "Get out of my way and let me go," and and again, it's so.
Also, what I find kind of like interesting about what she's doing is when he's talking about her, it almost does feel like a kind of 9'6" thing to me, where it's sort of like, oh, like you're seeing me. It's kind of like, what are you seeing? Like like I've noticed that sometimes when I interact with like nines, especially nines with six fix, where you kind of tell them how you see them. Actually, sometimes sixes with nine as well, where there's sort of almost this rap to audience quality to it, where it's like you're telling me like who I am, or I'm sorry if this is so offensive to the people watching, but there is like this kind of quality of like, how do you see me? Like, and for the most part, people that I type are nines and sixes. And I think that and everybody likes getting typed that's into this stuff because it's fun. It's fun. It's fun, like having somebody type you and seeing what they see. But I think nines and sixes, there's this kind of element of like, tell me who I am, or like, tell me who I am, but then I'm going to argue with you later, or I have to think about it after you say it, but like, I really want to hear how you see me.
Intense and real, that it just pulls the other actors into the moment, and it gives it that very natural, real feeling.
And it's such her character is so strong that you have you understand her and have empathy for her to a very large extent, and yet you also feel that she's so fragile, but she gives a lot to Morgan as well. She empowers him and makes him.
Yeah, and I think that there is something. Oh my god, what is my hair doing? About sexual doms that does feel fragile to me, especially depending on like the type. I mean, God, sexual 8. I don't think I've typed a sexual 8 before. Maybe I have, but I can't imagine that type being fragile. But like a sexual 9, a sexual 6, sexual 4, 3, 2. I don't know. Like there is fragility, I think, in that. Oh no, we typed Grace Jones sexual 8, which I still think is accurate. And she was kind of fragile too in some way, but like terrifying. And I think that Paz is, she feels very vulnerable to me. And I've also just anecdotally noticed like sometimes sexual doms can really be like into their victim narrative, and it's usually related to some kind of like sexual relationship or like being exploited by men, or maybe it's women if it's the roles reversed, you know what I mean? Like that's just sort of like an anecdotal thing.
And tough in a way, right? So how was what was the process like for you creating the character?
What I think is interesting, like it's a weird like cyclical thing that happened. Like Morgan brings out the innocence of Carla.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film,
Yeah, and this is sort of interesting, I suppose, potentially. I mean, innocence is the virtue of 8. So if she is 9 wing 8, then she's sort of like tapping into her sort of wing. It's maybe reaching, but
takes his innocence. So it's like he grew up, she grew up too, but she also went back to being like a child, like in the vein of his innocent thinking, you know what I mean? Because she started to see herself through his eyes.
This is the young Ian. This is the young Ian.
yeah, and here's the thing is why I also think maybe like 6 wing 5 had, beyond what I already said, she is, I think she does think about things deeply. I think she just like has from trauma, addiction issues that probably like she's dissociating a lot, but it's like I think she does have like a lot of kind of deeper, more intellectual thoughts on the acting process that probably a lot of other actors don't. And I think this speaks to her 6 wing 5 fix, her 4 wing 3 fix, and being like a sexual 9, where there's some kind of like creative energy in that type, like that's sort of hooked into, I don't know, like the human vulnerability spectrum or something.
An analysis of it.
Well,
it's a really great analysis.
Basically,
yeah.
They converted one another in a way, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and she's kind of talking about, I think, the sexual instinct of like we're changing each other, we're transforming each other. There's no other. It's kind of like the loss of self, and I think that's amplified when you're like a sexual attachment type.
She got to experience unconditional love for the first time in her life, maybe the only real love she's ever had, because she obviously doesn't like herself very much, and she's self-destructive and she's lost. But
yeah, and I feel like she might be kind of like describing herself there a little bit, but based on like her type: self-destructive, lost, sexual, self-pres, 9 wing 8/6/4, like. Yeah, it's like the sad, broken doll, Eeyore, amplified with sexual.
But Morgan is lost too, and she teaches him something, you know, like, but they take care of each other, and it's very tender. And I love the scene in the pool, maybe my favorite one, and that was actually the last scene we shot. I love it because you see her drowning, and he like picks her up, and it's so fragile and gentle and like pure, you know? And then in the end, when she takes his innocence, it's over. There's no more Morgan and Carla. But maybe that's what she was there to do.
I kind of want to watch that, actually, even though I feel like it's going to be terrible. I loved Nurse 3D, so maybe I'll love this. But yeah, she's sort of touching on interesting themes. And I think like 4 wing 3 themes a little bit, and sexual themes a little bit, where it's like this, and wing 8 maybe like loss of innocence, and like again this like sort of dissolution of self, and like maybe like this kind of fated romance, and they were star-crossed lover, like they were meant to destroy each other, and like it was kind of like part of their process of being a person, or
but he gave her back her innocence.
And he's
wait, one more thing.
And that's kind of the vampire thing, I think, too, about sexual self-pres, where it's like, I took something from you, but I gave you something. You took something from me, but you gave me something.
Whether she chose to continue to pursue her innocence and what he taught her, it's a mystery in the end. But how I equate the ending is like, I remember being in relationships.
I also kind of like that she's dommed them in this, like, which also maybe like points a little bit to Wing 8 for me, because sometimes like 9 Wing 8s, once they have a like wrapped audience, they can like really just like really go at it. Once you finally like hold space for them to share their opinion, they can like really, yeah, make a meal of it.
Relationships with people who are really messed up and they're never going to change. And the moment I knew an ex-boyfriend of mine loved me was the moment he let me go. So I think she really shows him how much she loves him by releasing him in the end, you know?
Damn, I think that guy gaslit her.
And I was just going to say he represents, on a mythological level, that child archetype, and which is an innocence, and children are about new beginnings and healing, and he's a healing force on Carla in the film. And
Paz de la Huerta on her feet outside of a courthouse in Los Angeles, where she's suing Lionsgate for $55 million after an on-set accident left.
I mean, she does have the makeup that I assigned to 7-4, which I regret now. Which is the problem with typing people like this. But I think it's just also like forfix sexual self-present madness.
After with a tailbone fracture and spinal injury in 2011.
Well, it's been a very hard 4.5 years, and but I've kept working. I've had to in between surgeries. I don't have a tailbone. I have batteries in my body, but I am a strong woman.
Paz was
batteries in my body, but I'm a strong woman. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think it speaks to her having like 6 in her type, Wing 8. I don't know, not self-pres left, maybe, because she kind of does use self-pres in some weird way as like some sexual hook, even though it's because it's like 964 is like the broken doll, the broken, you know, mess of collapsed, like, I don't know, sadness that you have to collect off the floor. And I think that like her illness is sort of like some hook. I think like you will see a lot of that with like SPSOs as well, with like 2-6, 2-6-9, 2-9-6-9, whatever as well. But I think the way she's doing it is like it's like part of her allure because of her type, which doesn't make sense probably to people who don't have any of that in their type. But there's like a sort of take care of me, like broken bird kind of thing that she has. Like, I've been abused. I'm not trying to like make fun of her either or make light of like whatever she's gone through, but this is definitely like typological. Yeah, I think it's like 9 Wing 8 hair more than 7 hair. 9 Wing 8, 9 Wing 8 fix, sexual, social ass, whatever.
Let people who are in front of the camera to be free and be their own character. I'm not very direct when it comes to actors. I just let them play.
Well, for me, I got this script, and I felt like I could do this. It wouldn't, be, anything to ponder. That it would be in fact like a really, healthy thing.
This is kind of funny. This is very like 4 fixed as well, but it's like 9 with 4. Like if there wouldn't be anything to ponder, I could do it. I can actualize. And she's almost like, oh, like wow, I can't believe it. Like, there's kind of like an element of like grandeur to it in some weird way. The guy right before was kind of giving her side eye too, so I'm sure she was like a nightmare on set.
To let out a lot of sadness and anger.
Even and just how she's holding herself, it's like gonna let out a lot of sadness. Of course, like 469 is like the gloomy, sad girl, Eeyore, sour girl thing. But also like anger. I mean, all types have anger, but that is the type 9 or body types are associated with anger.
But then, you fly half across the world and you never know what you're going to get. So, the experience kind of
And the way that she talks too just seems more like soft nine. She's gentle. She's got like kind of like yeah, just like she doesn't strike me as gentle, but the way that she conveys herself is very soft spoken and like baby kind of like, but not like too baby, where it's like daddy. It's more like, oh my, she's kind of doing the like forefix, like my artistry kind of thing.
Folded itself, and Gaspar, like he just said, he's not like a very hands-on, with the actors. He's not like very like with you, so for me, I felt very much alone, but then
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of like 964, 694, sort of like I felt very much alone. Nine, fear of abandonment. Six also have the fear of abandonment because it's like kicked out of the tribe. Like you have to figure things out on your own. Nine, feeling like you like, and the 9-6 thing of not feeling like you have a support system. And like with sexual, it's probably like needing like someone to like hang yourself off, kind of.
Talked a bit, and in fact, it fed the loneliness of my character, and
yeah, and then her forefix is like, and that's what made my performance so deep.
It gave me a sense of freedom. He said, I picked you because I wanted an actress that could
The guy on the left just fucking hates her.
Trust their gut, and I trust you. So,
and also because you're a good,
I mean, you could buzzword that. Trust your gut.
Film director. She does shorts that are very radical. So, if she can do those shorts,
yeah,
it would be. I like
probably sexy shorts. But even the way she kind of holds herself, like she's kind of doing this sexual self-prezi, 9-4. I don't know. She's kind of just constantly swaying like a snake and like sort of
working with people who also know what the movie's made from their side.
So, I mean, I was like, cool. And then, as things unfolded, there were scenes, things change. A character always takes on a life of its own, the journey does.
Yeah, she's kind of seducing the audience a little bit. Like she's sort of, weaving a bit of a spell.
And, Linda, she just, I just felt so sad and lonely being her, and then, there's a lot of scenes that aren't in the movie that we did. Like there's a few very like, the explosive scene at the end. There's a few more explosive ones like that aren't in the film. But I like how he did it because it kind of gives it like an arch, and then boom, she explodes. But
like a 9.
No, I mean, yeah, I did it.
The first version was.
Yeah, it's like sexual 9 kind of stuff, I think.
It's much longer. And it was recommended to cut the limit.
Yeah, and like social less, like sexual self-pres 9 is more earthy and more sensual. It's like kind of like, I don't know, like a sexy Taurus kind of energy. It's like grapes dangling over you, gold draped over your body, like your boobs out, like on a chase lounge, someone rubbing oil on you, like that's with snakes wrapped around your arms. Like that's kind of the energy that she just brings naturally. Like she's literally wearing a beige shirt with her hair and just like a bun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very sensual. It's very sexy. Like, and she has like no makeup on either. I think that's another thing with 9s I've noticed, especially like sexual 9s, is like they sort of embody like a more raw, primal, natural embodiment of the sexual instinct.
Is it working? Yeah, okay. Joseph Primakis from Greece. Mr. Noe, thank you for a wonderful film. I'd like to ask you.
And like she was kind of more like that when she was younger, and then she kind of got like with the lips and stuff. But yeah, when she was younger, she sort of had more of that natural thing. I think being in Hollywood too probably makes you insecure and like, I mean, I think she looks, I like I love red lips, obviously, and I love like crazy makeup, but yeah, she definitely had like that more kind of, I like that actually. That's my favorite Paz look, is just red lips, like loose hair. But anyway, I feel intoxicated by Paz. So like her instinctual stacking is spell is like working on me. I guess I'm done typing her. I don't know. Um, so it's Paz de la Huerta, sexual self praise 9-wing 8, 6-wing 5. I didn't really give that good of a case for that, but whatever. And 4-wing 3. She could be 4-2nd. She kind of feels heart-2nd a little bit, actually. Imagey, she's kind of got an imagey thing about her. So yeah, I'll type her 9-4-6. Either way, she's wing 8, 4-6, like triple reactive alter ego, making her extra fiery, extra reactive, paranoid, accusatory, fear of being accused, j'accuse. What is her wings? 8-5-3. Oh, she was like final boss. I don't really like that name. Can't remember what other names I came up with for that, but that's like cutthroat world leader. Actually, that's probably the type that she hates the most too, that has taken advantage of her the most, is something in the 8-5-3 range, 3-5-8 range. So that's sort of interesting. So she probably attracts actually her shadow. I don't know if she has like a whole backstory with Harvey Weinstein, which I just don't care to go into, but I don't know what his type is, but I assume he's an 8. He's disgusting. An 8-wing 9 probably. Obviously with a 3 fix, so I'm sure she attracted a lot of her shadow type because she's kind of got that chaotic thing. And I think that we often are attracted to elements of our shadow because it's like almost like filling in a missing piece that can feel very activating. So has de la Huerta. So yeah, what do I call that type? Pain piggy, um, sad sack. I don't know, whatever. Love her. Keep thriving, Paz.